Designed to alert the public when inmates escape is one step closer to becoming law.
This comes after 19 Investigates exposed how the Summit County Sheriff's Office repeatedly failed to notify the public when prisoners escaped. 19
investigator Mike Mason has more.
Representative Bill Romer first introduced this bill late last year after watching our series of reports. Now he's introducing it once again, hoping to create a program that works just like an Amber Alert. Representative Bill Romer had his first legislative hearing before fellow lawmakers. He's now reintroducing House Bill 23, which is also called the Escaped Convict Alert Program. If passed, it would create a notification system that's designed to inform local law enforcement agencies and the public whenever a felon escapes custody. Romer says the program would function much like an Amber Alert. This bill was prompted by a series of 19 Investigates reports. You might remember seeing them last fall when we showed you how several inmates escaped custody and the Summit County Sheriff's Office failed to alert the public.
Channel 19 in Cleveland had done reports of escaped felons, and this bill only covers felons. All we are trying to do here is make sure that the public is aware that there could be a danger in their neighborhood.
Romer says his program would require agencies like SCSO to make these notifications whenever a felon escapes from a jail, courthouse, or during transport. His bill would only apply to people charged with or convicted of a felony, and it wouldn't apply to someone facing misdemeanors. Romer says his bill might also include ramifications for any agency that fails to comply. We'll, of course, keep you posted on how this bill progresses. Mike Mason, 19 News.